Chapter 37. In the center of the cave was a pedestal made out of a black merged with some bits of crystals. And what was resting upon this rock was the most exotic and unimaginable flower I had ever seen. It was a flower made out of pure glass. Though its glass shell was such a hard exterior, it looked so alive and so soft. Inside was a bright glowing light that flickered. It seemed as though the glass was holding all of the energy inside together, and it formed the flower. I said out loud, "Isma's flower is real." I carefully made my way towards it, making sure I was not disturbing anything else in the cave. As I approached it, its beauty only seemed to grow. "I'm going to save you, Esm," I whispered to the flower. The flower glowed brighter, which surprised me. It's as if the flower understood me, like how a person would. Ez must really be in there. She's been trapped inside this glass flower for thousands upon thousands of years, waiting for her love to find her. I needed to get this to the castle before the war began. I gently placed my hands under the flower and with a slight bit of pressure, I picked it off of its resting place. I released a breath of relief when the flower was not disturbed by me. I giggled to myself. I feel pretty awesome right now. The positive achievement was short-lived when I felt a rumble beneath my feet. A bad feeling crept into my chest. I quickly wrapped the flower in a thick and soft cloth and placed it in the bag I brought. I sprinted toward the tunnels. I ran through as fast as I could, but the ground shaking became more violent. It was hard to place my foot firmly on the ground without stumbling. The cracking and grinding of rock echoed throughout the tunnel. "No, no, no, no," I yelled in a panic. Rock began to fall. I pushed my legs to run as fast as they could, but a giant rock had crackled through the roof of the tunnel, dropping right in front of me. I fell to the ground as I was trying to stop. More rocks stumbled upon one another, blocking my way to freedom. Make a wage. Help. Somebody help me. The whole entrance was sealed shut by the rocks. I was trapped and I don't know where I am. Shit. You've really done it now. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylan Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing Krishut's enthusiasm. Look at what you've done. This is what I get for not telling Oz anything. If he had come with me, everything would be okay. But no, the moon goddess only appointed me for this bloody task when she could have done like a couple quest where me and Oz could be a team and do together. But no. Now look at me. Tears of frustration and panic formed in my eyes. I groaned in annoyance. I am sick of crying. I was not paying attention to my surroundings when a loose rock from above fell. It struck my head hard, forcing me to fade into the darkness as. If we had the battle away from here, in a place of our advantage, it could give us a head start in the war, as Ozian said from his chair. I nodded my head. We will need find an area where we know best. Ozai comes forward, but how will we draw them in? I sit forward and rest my elbows on the table while swirling my wine around my cup. We will lead them into the woods. Ozai frowns. Why, they will expect that. No werewolf would side with a werewolf turned vampire. Vlad has defiled his werewolf blood, betraying it. He will obviously have other creatures of the dark, but none of them will know the woods like the wolves. We will have the advantage if we were to place it there. Ian raises his brows and nods his head in agreement. That sounds about right. But we cannot win this just by fighting. We have to use other means in order for us to have a full advantage. Vlad will have a diverse army with all different strengths and weaknesses. I lean back in my chair and sigh. That is what we have to figure out. How to do more damage. I stand from my chair. We lock down this castle. No one gets in or out of this place without my saying so. I turn to Ian. Tell the armies to come closer into the territory past the river. Ian nods and marches out. I turn towards inform the servants and other staff to not be out after night falls. Ozai bows his head and leaves. I will have to tell Iris that she cannot be going into the gardens at night alone anymore. Me or one of the others will have to always be with her. I stand from my chair and make my way downstairs to the guards. My mind drifts off to Iris. I have not seen her for most of today. It feels like I haven't seen her in forever. I felt lucky that she gave me a chance. I will do everything in me to not fail. I wonder what we will do after this. That is, if we both come out of this alive. My mind doesn't even want to comprehend what would happen if I lost her. I shook my head. I will do everything in my power to protect her. I came to the guards at the front door. Close the gates. I want the amount of guards doubled walking through these halls as well as outside the castle. No one comes in or out anymore. I turned to leave. Should we not wait for Iris? One of the guards asked. I froze in my steps. To my agent extraordinaire, Myron Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. What of Iris? I turned around facing the guards. She left. She had told us she had informed you she was leaving. My heart had stopped in my chest. Where did she say she was going? I snarled. I'm not sure. She went somewhere with her little sister, Genevieve. I yelled in anger and worry as I punched the marble wall, causing it to crack. As Ian and Donnie came running. Donnie saw my state. What's wrong? Iris has gone missing. I laid in my bed, hoping to find rest, but rest did not find me. I was lost in my thoughts. Thoughts of Esme. I had not gone to see her today because of our argument last night. I tried once again to convince her to come away with me, but she was strong in reasons to stay. She was afraid, and I understood why. I was confident that she would be okay leaving her sanctuary, but she did not share that confidence much. It got my thinking. If that was her main concern, I could contribute. I am a powerful god. I could sacrifice a part of my power and embed it within her. I would be willing to do that if it meant her coming with me. I got up from my bed and looked upon Isma's glass sanctuary. I could see her. She was standing on her glass bridge at the waterfall. She is usually asleep at this time. To my agent extraordinaire, Myron Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I cannot sleep while having our problem unsolved. I made my way out of my territory and into hers. I stood behind the bush of plants. She stood there in her glistening white gown looking at the water falling over the rocks, reflecting the moonlight. You may be able to sneak on the gods, but not me, Kiro Stormhold, Esme said without even looking my way. I cowled and help, but chuckled a little as I merged out of the bush. No, I could never get anything past you. No, you can't, she said confidently. I know you too well. I approach her slowly until I stop right beside her. She still isn't looking at me. I'm sorry. Nerve, I said softly. She silently shakes her head and looks down at her hands. I gently cover them with my own. To my agent extraordinaire, Myron Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Stop. She finally turns to me. Unshed tears were glistening in her beautiful eyes. It pained me to see her like this. I raised my calloused hands and cupped her soft and fair cheek. Do you remember when we first met? She asked softly. I thought I had strayed into a dream. It has been years since then. She raises her soft and delicate hand and brushes my hair out of face. Maybe it is time for our end. My brows pull together. End and end to what? She looks at me, not saying anything. I shook my head. No, I said firmly. Why would you even suggest that? Because I will not let my fears hang over the both of us. I will not hold you back. You do not hold me back. To my agent extraordinaire, Myron Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I said with determined voice. You make a better person. You make me good. Do you remember what I said to you? She sniffs. You said you would tie your life to mine, forsaking the life of an immortal god into one of a star. She looks down, but I do not let her. Stars can live thousands upon thousands, possibly even millions of years. However, they do not live forever. There comes a point when a star cannot shine anymore and they die. If that is Isma's fate, then I will gladly die alongside her. I raise her gaze to my own. I would rather live one lifetime of star with you than go on for all eternity without you. I choose you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Your fears do not hang over me, neither they hang over you. She stood there still. I think a part of her wants to hope for such things, but there is still doubt. I gently grabbed the sides of her arms. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Look at me. She gulps, but slowly looks up. I wipe her tears away. Your face is too beautiful for such painful tears. My love, I do not know what to do, she said with her voice beginning to break. She isn't ready to leave yet. I desperately wanted to make a life with her. However, I would have any kind of life with her as long as she was by my side. I tuck her beautiful silver hair behind her ear. And that is okay. My love, it was wrong of me to push you on the subject. All I need in the world, all I will ever need in the world is your love. As long as I have that, we could be living in a tiny box for all I care. What about leaving here? I sigh and pull her closer to me. That doesn't matter anymore. At the end, all I need is you. She shook her head. You're giving up too much for someone like me. Stop. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You do not know your worth. Your love is priceless. You are the most precious thing to me. She lays her head on my chest. I love you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I smile down at her. I love you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Esme smile. You are a good man. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It is not my doing. Your starlight can outshine any darkness. My eyes snap out open as I gasp awake. Red eyes stare right at me. I stumble back onto my feet and backed away in a fright. I held the flower close to me. Who are you? I said breathlessly. A man stood there with eyes as red as blood. I have been cursed here for so long. So close to her and yet so far. Almost complete and yet completely broken from the man I once was. I took a stumbling step forward. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He steps forward. His features were so similar to someone I once knew. He stepped right in front of me and cups my face. Set me free so that I may be with her once more. He leans in and presses his lips to my forehead. The cracking and grinding of rock reached my ears. I spun around and saw small rays of sunshine coming through the rocks. They found. I turned back around. Are you? But he was already gone. Was that him? It had to be. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. An echoing shout of Donnie S. voice. I turned back around and saw the rocks falling away until there was a big enough gap for me to squeeze through. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Thank goodness, Donnie said, in relief. He helped me out of the entrance whereas A and Ozine stood with their arms crossed. They weren't happy. I tried to smile innocently, but that obviously wouldn't work. Ozine growls. Do you realize how worried we all were? How worried ours is? Where's ours? I asked cautiously. He was forced to stay back. He was too enraged to be on sacred ground. I informed. Look guys, I had to. Save it. Ozine snarls. It's not as you have explaining to do. You stressed out ours a lot. He was going out of his mind, thinking the worst had happened. Achias already lost you so many times. Why would you add to his pain? I tilted my head to the side. I've never gone missing once. This is the first time. So don't lecture me about how reckless I am. Sozin's eyes wide and slightly. But he coughed and masked his emotions. You've been reckless enough for us to start talking to you about it. I had to do this. It was the only. Stop talking. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing pre-shoots enthusiasm. Oz AI said in his calm voice, like Esozian said. It's not us you have to explain to. Oz is waiting for you. I suggest you go before he hurts anyone else. My eyes widen. HES hurt someone. Would let seeing me make it worse. For goodness sake, Iris. Donnie shouts in frustration. Stop being so fucking difficult and go to Oz before he ends up murdering someone. I flinched from Donnie's raised voice. I held my tongue back and didn't say anything as they guided my back to the village. I had heard Oz before I saw him. Why the fuck is she here? Make her wait. Did you not think to inform me? It was not my place to tell. The moon goddess had chosen her. What do you mean? Oz snarled. It seems your mate is keeping secrets from you. The boys and I came into view. RS's attention was zoomed on me. He had a deep scowl that scared me as he snarled. So it seems. With his deep, gravely voice that gave me chills. And not the good kind. I was in big trouble. Chapter 30 R's stood there fuming. He did not move to come near me, and I didn't move to go near him. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing pre-shoots enthusiasm. He demanded with a low growl. Ours. I had no choice. No choice, my ass. You chose not to tell me. That's a choice. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing pre-shoots enthusiasm. I looked down at the ground. Look, I'm sorry you're hurt. But I had to do this. I washed her. I'm not hurt. I was worried out of my fucking mind. I was scared because I thought I lost you. I thought he took you from me. I could see the bags underneath his eyes. His face showed the turmoil he had been through. I'm sorry. Oz. I apologized. I truly am. No, you're not. He sighed harshly. You're stupid if you think that you had to do this. You didn't. And even if you did, I could have done it with you. Do you realize what could have happened if Vlad caught you? Do you realize what he would have done? I stayed silent, but my nerves spiked as I saw Oz take slowly steps forward like a predator. He would have taken you as his own, touched you, make you his, for a pregnancy. And you would be nothing to him, but a piece of meat he plays with. I gulped as a sickened and uncomfortable, disturbing feeling rested on my shoulders. Stop. You don't have to be so vulgar about it. He laughs without humor. It's the reality of what we are in. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing pre-shoots enthusiasm. He would do all of that knowing it would torture me, kill me inside. He stops right in front of me. He grips my chin a little more fun than I was expecting to make sure I didn't. Or more like how don't look away. And then he growls. Last night I pledged myself to you. I promised to earn your trust in me. But maybe you're the one who needs to earn my trust now. Oz, I said in a breathless whimper. I wanted to tell you. I didn't want to do this alone. You have no idea of the burden that I have to carry. He frowns. What were you talking about? The moon goddess. She came to me in a dream. She told me to find the flower. Oz stood in a silence for only a moment, processing the information. Smith's flower. I nodded my head. I was afraid that telling you would disturb the course of fate that the moon goddess has set out. I couldn't tell you even if I wanted to. Why has the goddess chosen you? She said only I could find it and that it would somehow help us with this war. Oz yells in frustration and turns around. He grips his hair. I don't care about the moon goddess. She has done nothing for me. She has more power than one could ever imagine, and yet look at the mess we are in. We cannot rely on her. I took a step forward. She is not the only god. Oz. She needs to keep the harmony throughout the cosmos, or else there would be chaos in the heavens. He said with a laugh. They will not know of havoc and chaos until they see me in this war. Oz. Don't turn into what? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A hellhound. We are not getting into that right now. Oz marches toward me and said, "How long has this been going on for?" To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Oz says in a calm voice, but even though it was calm, it scared me. A couple of weeks, possibly more, I said reluctantly. His shoulders tensed. Weeks. He turns around, his face still cemented into a scowl. Weeks, he repeated. I gulped. It was too burden to bear. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I cowed and put this on you. He just stood there and stared at me intensely. I broke the eye contact. I turned to walk towards Ozian and Oze, but Oz grabs me and pushes me up against a tree. My breath hitched. His green eyes began to glow and his nostrils flared. He was tensing his jaw when he said, I thought you were gone. I thought you had been killed or worse. Taken by him. You will not be taken from me again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Do you understand? I nod my head silently. You've told me everything. I instantly thought of the handsome red-eyed man. I was sure if I should tell him or not. He would go crazy if he knew I let another man kiss my forehead like that. But I felt like it wasn't in a sexual or lustful way. He seemed sincere. I can't. At least not right now. You know everything now. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He nods his head once and firmly. Good. This means I'm involved now, which means the moon goddess is just going to have to change her plans. He turns around without looking at me and said in a hard voice, We're going home. The guys went and followed Oz, where I just stood there not knowing what to do. Am I supposed to stay? I have the flower in my bag. What else am I supposed to do with it? How do I even use it? If you're not following me, in next 5 seconds I'm throwing your ass over my shoulder, whether you like it or not. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Oz said without turning or stopping. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I guess this is a figure it out as you go along kind of missions. I followed them silently as we made our way out of the village. Yet we stopped suddenly. I looked at the front and saw Mako H and my sister Jen, standing next to him. Mako H only glances at me for a moment before talking to Oz. I understand that Genevieve is under your protection since she's your mate sister. Oz nods, yes. Jen steps forward. I want to stay. Her eyes connect with mine. I want to stay. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I've decided to get to know Mako H. Her cheeks redden slightly. You two are mate, Oz guessed. Mako H nods. Yes, we are. With you and your mate's permission, I want Genevieve to be under my protection and care until the war has ended. Oz shrugs. You have my permission. Mako H finally looks directly at me, waiting. I looked at Jen as she too was looking at me. You will take care of her? I asked Mako H. He nods his head. I will. She will be very comfortable. My tribe will treat her well. You'll protect her. I would die for her. I could see Jen stiff slightly at Mako H's intensity, though Mako H is very direct. I could see he took this very, very seriously, which calmed my nerves. I nodded my head. I give my permission. Mako H bows his head to both Oz and I. Jen came and gave me a hug. I decided to give him a chance. He said he would let me go after the war if I don't want to be with him. I'm happy for you, Jen, but let me tell you something. She stood there listening. This won't be easy, being with someone you hardly, but it's good. Don't forget about there being an end to this. Make an effort to know him and to also have grace. My sister frowns. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Why? Because, without grace, we can never forgive. Maker H is a strong man, a good man, but just because H is a good man doesn't mean he won't have a past. What if it's too much? What if I can't get over it? She said, a little worried. If you know he loves you, and you may possibly develop feelings for him, you'll learn to forgive because you know he has changed and that he is sorry for it. What if he isn't sorry for it? I give my sister a cheeky wink. Then you make him wish he was sorry. Jen laughs. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Thank you. Lil, she gives me a last goodbye and then we temporarily part ways. I turn and saw Oz. He was already staring at me with an intensity I couldn't read. He silently leads the way home. Once we arrived back in Canas, I shivered as I had forgotten this place was forever snowing. Oz silently took his jacket off and laid it around my shoulders. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He hasn't said a word this whole time. His face showed he was deep in thought. None of the boys made an effort to speak and I didn't either. But I felt a tension in the air, mainly caused by Oz and I not talking. When we walked inside the castle, everyone dispersed. They went off doing their own thing. I went to the bedroom. Oz did not follow nor did he make any indication that he would. Instead, he walked into the darkness of the hallways without glancing my way or saying a word. I didn't like him being like this, ignoring me. I wanted to go and talk to him, ask what was going through that head of his, but I was afraid that it would do more harm than good. I was tired from this whole day. I put the bag under the bed before having a shower. I let the hot water cascade down my body, hoping for it to wash the tension out of my body, but it doesn't. But at least I'm clean. I do my nightly routine, which consisted of washing my face, brushing my teeth and hair, then getting into my comfy clothes, which were shorts and a singlet. I put my damp hair into a bun to stop it tickling my neck. I walked out of the room, but stopped when I saw Oz standing there. He did not say anything, but he was looking at me. I stood there frozen. Oz slowly walked toward me, like a predator, afraid that its prey may run away. He stopped right in front of me, looking down at me. He raised his hand and tucked a hair behind my ear. Electric sparks coursed through my nerves when his hand slightly brushed my ear. His hand ran from my ear and down my neck. My skin raised in goosebumps as his calloused hand trails down over my collarbone and down my arm. You are a very, very beautiful woman. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. R.S. first words for me. I wasn't expecting him to speak such a way with me. I was preparing for Hyde to shout at me. His eyes followed wherever his hands were touching. You are kind and gentle, yet you have a hidden strength within you. A lamb with a lion's heart. Your eyes are soft. Your voice is soothing to me. I have seen many beautiful things in my lifetime, have experienced many incredible things, seen the most extraordinary things. I have more wealth than any man could imagine, more jewels than any queen or king owns, more treasure than that of the human world. But you, my dear, my flower, my iris, you are my most greatest treasure. His jaw clenched as his eyes finally met mine. Oz, I was so afraid. Oz said. He cupped my cheek with his one hand and ran his thumb over it. I have never experienced such fear in all my years when I found that you were gone. I had thought the worst had happened. I thought I lost you forever. I laid my hand over his. I never meant for you to be so worried. I promise when I tell you that I wish I could have told you everything. I didn't want to do this alone. Oz said in a firm voice. Don't do that ever again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Are you still angry with me? Of course I am, he said, while shaking his head. But then his eyes softened. I'm just glad that you're safe. I stepped closer to him and I wrapped my arms around his waist. "I'm sorry. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm sorry I scared you like that." He doesn't make any move to hug me back, but I didn't care. He looks down at me and released a defeated sigh. Oz wraps his arms around me and leaned down. His soft lips press firmly into my own. He grips the back of my head. Our lips danced together passionately. I felt his hands run down my body and grip my hips firmly. My hands ran through his hair. His kisses became much more hungry and ravenous. My heart was beating fast as he picked me up and threw me on the bed. He climbs on top of me, his hips resting between my legs. He growls frustratingly. "No, this is wrong." I breathlessly look back up at him as he stares down at me with his glowing green eyes. "You deserve a soft and caressing touch. A slow and memorable night. Not this. I won't disrespect you like that." I sigh. "I really wish you weren't trying to be good right now." Oz chuckles. "Trust me. My thoughts are definitely not one of a good man right now. And as much as I want to taste your sweet skin, you deserve better. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I gave a small grin. Well, now you've gotten me all riled up. They'll be looking forward to a slow and memorable night. Once this war is over and done with. Oz leans down and pecks my lips. "Oh, don't you worry. My flower. It will definitely be a night of memories." He leans down and whispers in my ear. "Well, probably still be. Making memories until the early morning." I raise my brow cheekily. "You're very confident in your skills." "Oh, baby. After I've performed my skills on you, you won't be able to walk the next morning." I smack his shoulders. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." He laughs and shrugs his shoulders. "Just warning you." Our laughs died down and we were left in a peaceful silence. Oz gathered me in his arms and held me throughout the whole night. I think he was assuring himself that I was there and that I was safe. His grips didn't weaken one bit, and every time I would move he would wake up, making sure I was okay. And everything was okay. Until the next morning. Chapter 39 Oz. I wake up during the night from a strange feeling. I was on high alert as soon as my eyes opened. I sat and examined the room. I looked to my right to see Iris was still fully asleep, as she should be. I climbed out of bed and went to stand at the balcony. My eyes roamed the area. I couldn't find anything, but the unsettling feeling was still lingering. I quietly went around the castle, checking up on different rooms. A very strong presence began to make itself known. Someone was lurking in my castle. I went downstairs, making sure all of my senses were on alert. "Zuzu, long time no see. Old friend." "Oh hell no." I stood there and sighed as I crossed my arms. "What are you doing?" She walks down the steps with a white smile. "Strange. Something must be wrong if you're not giving me your sassy-ass attitude. Zuzu, these are stressful times. Eudora, I don't have time for such things." She struts down as if she owned the place. As usual, she flashes her sharp teeth as her sharp purple eyes study me. "You have a vampire chasing you." I roll my eyes. "So you do know why I'm in such a shitty mood." She smiles. "I know everything. You should know that by now." Another voice reaches my ears as it enters the room. "Zuzu, why don't you have a 24/7 cook around here? Eudora Estwin comes in holding a bitten apple. You're just as handsome as the last time I saw you, if not more handsome." I hold my hands up. "If you two are here just to torment me, then fuck off, because this is not the time at all." Kurt laughs and growls. "Who say it again?" "Except angrier. I like and dominant." Eudora giggled. Okay. Goodness. Zuzu. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I growled in frustration. She rolls her eyes. "Oz, She sits on the fur couch and crosses her legs. You know what we are. We've known each other for at least 100 years. You've always been loyal to us. Now it is our time to return the favor. I lean against the wall. Continue. Kurt steps forward. We will join you in your fight with Vlad. There are clans of skin changers that are loyal to us. They will fight also. I kick off the wall. You would bring the clans together to fight for me. She stands up and nods. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Your ER family ours. Family defend each other, protect each other, and that is exactly what we're gonna do, right up until we all fall in the black hole. Kurt, step forward, or you can always just fall into my black hole. Enthusiasm, Zuzil. And as usual, Eudora snaps. Really, nigger. I just had this little inspirational speech and you just huddy-duddy to go and kill it. Kurt snorts. Shut up. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Susie, already got the memo. No need to get all emotional on us. You know it starts to get heated. Eudora begins to clap her hands with her longest nails while shouting. No, you shut up. You bitch ass nigger. You don't know nothing about being inspirational and shit. Kurt snorts again. And shit. What kinda inspiration is that? Nobody asked for inspiration. Just tell him we GON fight for him and that's it. Why we gotta get all emotional? Because is it an emotional time? Kurt, can't you guess it in your fat head him? Controls his eyes and examines his long silver nails. Why you gotta get all ghetto on my ass? I inwardly cringe. Eudora hates being called Dora. Her eyes practically burst into flames. You did not just call me Dora. Kurt shrugs. What if I did? You know I hate being called Dora. I and Eudora of the fucking explorer from the fucking bitch ass human world. Get her to hear you, stupid. Motherfucker. We don't want you fighting in our war anymore. So get your raggedy faggot wires up with her here. Controls his eyes. Eudora, stop being dramatic. Can everyone just shut the fuck up? Both of them silenced and froze as their heads turned to me as they realized I was still in the room. I growled at him. Kurt, as long as you stay in my territory, do not say that again. He smiles and blows me a kiss. Whatever you say. Zuzi has him. He walks off filing his nails, while Eudora stood there trying to calm herself down. I swear, if he was my brother, it'd kill him by now. Not if I did it first, I said in an annoyed tone. I plopped myself on the couch and rubbed my eyes. I was tired. Eudora sat on the couch across from me. Word has floated through the wind in Arcanas that you found her. Your mate. The sixth one. I rolled my eyes. Darnie told you, didn't he? I already knew since the little bastard doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut. She shrugs. Yes, oh. What? Did he send you a magical owl? Eudora looked at me and frowned. Of course not. He sent me a text message. You should really get with the times. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We're not in the medieval era anymore. I don't bloody care. Eudora's eyes changed from one of playfulness to concern. Go back to your mate. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We can discuss things tomorrow. You need your strength. Iris, I woke up pretty early. I didn't have the best sleep last night. I just didn't feel settled. Not even when I was asleep. I sat up and rubbed my tired eyes. I stretched my arms up over my head and arched my back slightly. I looked over my shoulder at our SS sleeping form. He looked exhausted. I'll leave him to rest for a bit longer. She has been under a lot of stress. I'm sure me running away only added to it. I felt guilty that instead of relieving some stress, I am only adding to it. I put on my SS black robe and quietly exited the bedroom. The whole castle was still asleep. I think the only people who would be awake is the cooks. Preparing breakfast. The light pitter-patter of my bare feet on the marble floors was the only sound made as I walked down the stairs and into the dining hall. I wanted to make myself a cup of coffee. It was kind of nice waking before everyone else did. It gave me the opportunity to think for a moment. I walked into the kitchen and saw one of the cooks. I smiled politely. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you, but I was trying to find the coffee." The middle-aged woman smiled in return. "No worries. There is a fresh brew in the pot over there," she said, pointing. "Thank you." I walked over but quickly stopped. I turned back to the cook. "I've been here for quite a few months now, and am embarrassed to say that I don't even know the name of the cook that's had me for this long." The woman's eyes softened. "My name is Maxine. And you are Iris. Am I right? The master RSS mate." I nodded my head. "That I am. Thank you for the coffee." She gives me a wink. "No problem. Sugar." I poured myself a coffee and walked out and into the main lounge where the fire had not even been lit yet. I remember making a fire at the family house back at the Blood Moon Pack. Let's see if I still got it. Even when I was blind, I was totally useless. I could still do certain things, but it just took more time for me to get the hang of it. I grabbed some matches on top of the mantelpiece. I grabbed some kindling from the big basket and began to make my fire. Soon the fireplace was roaring and I stood there pretty proud of myself. "Oh, Iris, you still got it," I said to myself. I grabbed my cup of coffee and sat on the couch. "Is it normal for you to be talking to yourself?" a voice said. I almost spit my coffee out from the fright I had. My head whipped around and saw a man sitting on top of a shelf, smoking a cigarette. He blows the smoke out as his pale aqua eyes stared at me. "Or are you just lonely?" he said in his thick Irish accent. As much of a fright I got. I wasn't exactly alarmed. I feel like I've grown accustomed to random things that happen in this damn castle. I sigh and roll my eyes. And what is an Irishman doing in the Hellhound's castle? He chuckles and jumps down the shelf. He was tall, a little skinny. His hair was a mess. He had black eyeliner under his eye and one dangling earring of a silver cross on his left ear. He also had some stubble growing on his jawline. He takes another drag of his cigarette. "Would you like to know?" I casually took another sip of my coffee. "You know, you remind me of my friend. He was Irish too. He was from a place called Londonderry." The man's face frowns and rolls his eyes. "Your friend was Irish then? But that's in Ireland, isn't it? It's from Northern Ireland. Sweetheart, there's a big bloody difference there. I'm from Galway. Northerners aren't Irishmen. Most of them are bloody Protestants anyway." "You're saying you're Catholic?" He turns around and scowls at me, as he plays with his cross. "Are you making fun of me?" I oddly coughed into my hand and shook my head. "Of course not." "Yes, that's right. We Irish can be very," but he cut himself off as his stare became more intense. He tilts his head as his eyes roam my face. He suddenly appears right in front of me and continues to study my face as if I were a lab experiment. I frowned as I moved my head back. "What are you doing?" His lips widen into a crazy little grin. "Well, I haven't seen this before." He grabs a hold of my chin and tilted my head up to study me more.
"That is definitely interesting."
Suddenly he was pushed off of me. I sit up and look over my shoulder to see a very annoyed Oz. "Why is everyone fucking coming all at bloody once?" The man laughs. "Has Tweedledemmit and Tweedled arrived yet?" Oz rubs his eyes with his one hand. "They came last night." "Who came? Why didn't you wake me? I was going to let you waste your time with idiots like them." The man stumbles back up. "True. They really are a waste of time, sweetheart." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Do you still have your liquor cabinet? I am very thirsty. You're drinking? I questioned. Enthusiasm, in the morning. He smiles lazily at me. It's night time somewhere in the world, sweetheart. By the way, I haven't given you my name yet. He stretches his hand out. The name's Dylan. And you are our sis sweet and blind mate. Iris, is it? I was about to place my hand in his for the usual handshake. Oh no, you don't. Oz cuts in and quickly grabs a hold of my hand before I could even shake Dylan's hand. I frowned at Oz. What do you do that for? Oz smirks. Dylan here likes to trick people, you see. Dylan chuckles as he throws his purple scarf over his shoulder. You fucking Brits. You take the fun out of everything. Oz rolls his eyes. Dylan isn't an ordinary guy, Lil. That's all you need to know. I stand up and cross my arms. I'm sick of being left in the dark. We're in a war where we could all possibly die, for goodness sake. I should be able to know everything. Dylan stands and points at Oz. You are completely right. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing pursuits, enthusiasm. I totally agree with you. Girl power. Oz growls. Sit down. Dylan, you're not a part of this. The Irishman chuckles. If you won't tell her, then I will. Oz snarls. Sit the fuck down. Dylan, this is between me and my mate. Not you. Dylan rolls his eyes and plops down on the couch, getting another cigarette out. Oz turns back to me and comes towards me. He holds my shoulders. Look, I'm going to tell, but just not right now. Not when all of this crazy stuff is happening. I'll tell you tonight where we can actually talk without being disrupted. I arch my brow. Promise. Oz leans in and kisses my forehead. I have a question, Dylan said, raising his hand as if he were a schoolboy. You would look like me do in some lines on your coffee table. Right. Lines. Dylan holds his hand over his heart and coos at me. Oh, my innocent little Iris. Your pure mind really does astound me. Oz rolls his eyes in annoyance. He wants to do cocaine on the table. Dylan sits, fumbling about with his pockets. He gets a little plastic bag filled with powder, but then he freezes when he's so still staring. Oh, did you want to try? No cocaine. Dylan. Oz shouts. Dylan's face falls as if a toy was taken off of a little boy. Oz grabs my hand and marches out of the room. What is going on, Oz? Who are the people that came during the night? I was stumbling over my feet a little since Oz was walking so fast. He stops abruptly and turns around. He massages his temples as he said, Some people I've known for a while. When I split off from the other for a couple of years, I stuck with some. Interesting people. I raise a brow. Interesting people. Well, they must mean something to you considering they're here. Right. He sighs tiredly. Yes, they do mean something. I guess. They're just very out there kind of people that bloody get on my nerves. Do they know us S-O-Z in Undonny? I asked. Oz nods his head. They're the ones that brought me back here. They stay for a while, but that was a very, very long time ago. I have only seen them a handful of times since then. Well, if they're the ones that looked out for you in your most darkest time, then I want to meet them. A smashing key of plate echoed from the other side of the door to the dining hall. Oz groans. They can be very overwhelming. But if any of them make you feel disturbed or uncomfortable, you tell me straight away and I will deal with them personally, he said in a dead serious voice. I rub his forearm that he had them folded in front of his chest and gave it a comforting squeeze. Everything will be fine. If they're here to help, then I'm happy for them to be here. Of course. You say that now. I roll my eyes. My mate's hand rests on the small of my back as he gently guides me into the dining hall. He opens the door to reveal a very chaotic scene. Sitting at the table was a very beautiful black woman. She had very, very, very long curly white hair and purple eyes. She wore giant dangling black and gold earrings as well as many other piercings that decorated her ear. She wore a very tight purple leather jumpsuit with simple straps. A black guy was hanging from the chandelier. He seemed to be a very tall, muscular guy. He had bright purple eyes too. His hair was very short but still white. He wore a dark purple suit with a green tie that was tucked into his purple vest. He also had a leather jacket on. And there was also Dylan sitting at the table too, looking a little sleepy. Upon my entering, they all stopped what they were doing and looked this way. The woman smiled and stood up. This must be the famous To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I was a little shocked as she stood up since she was very, very tall. She approached with a bright smile and pulled me into a hug. It's amazing to finally meet the woman that's stolen our Essa heart. My name is Eudora. You can call her Dora for short, the black man said, approaching. I saw Eudora clench her jaws, her eyes glowing, but she tried to mask it through a smile. Hello, babycase. My name's is Kurt. I'm this bitch's twin. Ours growls. Language. Dylan's coughs. Just because both you and Iris are in this curse doesn't mean you have to protect her from curse words too. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Oz steps forward and snarls. Are you high? I bloody told you no cocaine. Dylan raises hands in surrender. Calm down. Oz growls as he pinches the bridge of his nose. I fucking hate this. Donnie came walking in casually. Typing on his phone. When he looked up, he stopped and took in the sight in front of him. He groans and rubs his face. I just wanted to have a quiet breakfast. Is that too much to ask? He yelled up at the roof. Chapter 40. Iris' well breakfast was definitely eventful. Donnie stood there tired looking, but they soon widened when his eyes flashed with recognition. Dylan. Eudora. Kurt. Eudora screams as she stood up. Oh, my little baby. She went and threw herself at Donnie. He caught as a smile formed on his lips. She stood back on the ground and grabbed his cheeks and squeezed them. You look so much like a man now. Oh my goodness. Her eyes watered like a tearful and proud mother. Donnie leans down and kisses Eudora on the cheek. It's good to see you. Eudora. She smiles. I'm so happy to see you too. Don. Donnie nods at Eudora's brother. Kurt. Good to see ya. Kurt blew him and kiss. You too, sugar. Donnie's eyes traveled throughout the room and they landed on Dylan. What are you doing here exactly? He said with a tinge of malice. Dylan smiles. Good to see you two. Old friend. How's Anna? Donnie rolls his eyes. Why would you want to know? You don't care. Dylan smirks. She's my own flesh and blood. How could I not care? Donnie sits at the table. You haven't visited her in years. She thinks your E's still dead. Dylan shrugs. I might as well be. Wait a second. I interrupted. How is there a connection between Dylan and your former love? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I asked Donnie. Donnie glared at Dylan and said, Dylan is Anna's brother. My brows raised in shock but then soon pulled together in confusion. But how are you, young? Dylan finished my sentence. He laughs. Anna and work wins. You see, our family was no normal family, even among other Divinity ANS. We were rare. Divinity ANS. Dylan sits forward. You know the Divinity AS? No, what is it? Like all the different kinds of magic people there are. Dylan told me as if I had already known. I stayed silent, which only confirmed my confusion to Dylan. Do you know the Metamorphians? I shook my head. No, what are these? Dylan laughs. That's quite funny considering you're fucking mated to one. He raises his arms and shouts. Does this girl know nothing of Arcanic races here? Ours interfere. She isn't Arcanus born. She's a werewolf from the human world. She doesn't know anything of Arcanic history. Dylan sighs and then explains. Arcanus isn't just all supernaturals in one realm. There is still categories of people. You follow in love. I nodded my head. Okay. Dylan continues. In the human world there are different people from different parts of Earth, yes. There are Asians, Europeans, Westerners, Africans, etc. But within those places are also different people. Where there are Asians, there isn't just one type of Asian. There is Japan. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Philippines. the enthusiasm, Vietnam, Cambodia, etc. There are a lot of different types of Asians. That is the same for us. My mind was slowly wrapping around the idea. So like there's different subcategories within the categories of the archanic people. Dillot stared at me for a moment and then shook his head. Don't use big words while I'm high. It doesn't settle well with me. I roll my eyes. Continue then. And he does. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Where were we? Oh, Asians. Yea, of course. It is the same for us. There are magical people, but there isn't just one type of magical person. There are witches, wizards, necromancers, elemental witchcraft, etc. Same goes for werewolves. There isn't just one type of shapeshifter. There are people who can turn into different types of big cats. They can have shift into any person. There are some that can even shape into multiple living creatures. So divination is there. It is the magical people sector, I guess, he said while taking another drag of his cigarette. Someone began to clap. I turned around and saw Sozien leaning against the wall. I can't believe you gave a lecture while high. And it actually sounded legit. Dylan rolls his eyes. It shouldn't be surprising to ya. And I can't believe you're talking while sober. Sozin's eyes widen and he kicks off the wall. Dylan's right. Why am I still sober right now? Where the hell is my damn alcohol? I haven't had any today. It's 6:30 am. Sozien, I said to him. He looked still confused as he stared at me. And your point is? I roll my eyes. Oz steps forward. Okay, everyone just calm down and sit at the table. Sozien said. How do you expect us to be calm in a time like this? By shutting the fuck up. Oz growls. Sozien becomes silent as he rolls his eyes when sitting at the table. Oz sits at the head of the table. He turns to me and nods his head toward the chair beside him. I quietly come and sit down and Oz instantly grabs my hand and holds it tight. Sozien smirks. So I'm guessing things are resolved between you two. At a soon cut of my Oz, it's actually none of your business. And that's not the focus of this right now. The lad is coming here. That just sucked the joy and light right out of everyone's faces. They all became serious and were listening intently. He will come. And Achia's gonna come hard. Achia's not coming just to kill everyone. Achia's coming to win, and that means to have all the power he could ever want. Looks like you're gonna need some help. A voice echoed out from the door. I turned and my spirits were on high when I saw my cousin Leo. He steps in with my other cousins, Finn and Noah. Oz stands and said in a low voice, Why have you come? Leo's eyes flickered to me for a moment before staring at ours. Because you took care of our Iris. For that I will fight. I've brought my army. My father is bringing the other half tomorrow. I frowned and shook my head. No, they shouldn't come. They could be killed. Leo winks at me. Have a little faith. Lil, there's a reason why we're the best of the best. Oz nods his head. Thank you. I do not like having help in most situations. But considering the type of predicament we are in, I am grateful. Leo bows his head in respect. Oz turns to Sozien. Led Leo's army to the camping grounds, south of our territory where the rest of our army is. Inform them of the changes Sozien goes and does as R said. I have a question. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Everyone stopped what they're doing and turned to me. Could the EM or help us somehow? Oz clenches his jaw. No, he said through his teeth. She cannot interfere with anything that may involve the curse. Besides, she's often lollo and right now doing who knows what. I rubbed my eyes as I felt the stress creeping in. I stood back and leaned against the wall. The back of my head was developed a slow and painful headache that made my eyes ache. I kicked off the wall and silently walked out of that stress-saturated room. I inhaled and filled my lungs with as much oxygen as they could hold and I released. Relax, CCS. My consciousness told me. At least I think it was anyways. The voice was so soft and echoing in my head, making it sound so inviting and comforting. I instantly relaxed. I felt my shoulders sag as my nerves began to become like noodles almost. You have been through too much, the voice said to me. I nodded it in agreement. I have been through too much. I don't deserve this. My whole life has been such a hardship. When will I be able to relax? Go through the door, the voice told me. I felt my head automatically look down the dark hall to my left. A door opens by itself, waiting for me to step through. I shook my head and rubbed my eyes. I need to get back to Oz, I said to myself. Relax, the voice told me, and for some reason I obeyed its command. Any stress or anxiety I had, and I loved it. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He's using you still. You have fallen for his tricks, it told me. Tears welled up in my eyes. I thought he cared about me. My poor child. He does not. You are only his curse breaker. He knew the only way to convince you to do this willingly is to have you fall in love. Love? Is that what I feel for him? Tears ran down my cheeks. In the air I saw a glowing form. My eyes widened in amazement. A warm and inviting light that made me feel amazing. It was like a floating entity. I can make all of this go away. The soft voice whispered into my ears. I can make the war go away. Glad go away. Pain go away. Heartbreak go away. I can make ours go away. I nodded my head. The idea of all of this going away sounds perfect. It's exactly what I need. You will be free to do whatever you want. The whisper said, all you have to do is walk through that door. I felt like I was having this out-of-body experience. I walked down the hall. I couldn't even feel myself walking. It was like I was just moving toward the door. Because I want to go there. I want to go through that door. I smiled as I was about to step out of the door. No, I was don't. A voice roared. I frowned and spun my head around and my eye widened. I blinked my wide eyes as I took in my surroundings. I was in the hall. I was at the very top of that ruined tower. The tower that was supposed to reach the heavens. I looked down and saw I was about to step over the edge. Falling to my death. What the hell is happening? I looked up and saw the warm glowing form disappear into nothing. I spun around and saw Oz sprinting towards me. I shakily stepped off of the stone ledge. My legs were shaky as I couldn't wrap my head around what just happened. Oz wraps his arms around my waist and lifts me off the ledge. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He spins me around. He cups my face and searches as for any sign of harm. His eyes roam body too. I was scared because I didn't understand how I even got here. How am I here? I asked Oz. He looked down at me in deep concern. What? Iris, you've been gone for an hour. I've been trying to find you this whole time. An hour? I said in shock. Something, or someone got into my head. I almost jumped off the bloody tower. I wrapped my arms around Oz and clung to him. But Oz pulls back and cups my face. He looks into my eyes and searches for something. What happened? The voices. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. My mind still muddled. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They told me things. The voices. What did they sound like? Oz asks. I don't know. They just. Our SS brows creased into an even more concerned. How did they make you feel? Good. I felt good. I said slowly. Our SS jaw tensed. His nose flared. He holds me close to his body as he marches down the snowy mountain. Wait. What is going on? What was that thing? I don't know. But some divinity in wants you dead. Why does everyone want me bloody dead all at once? Can there at least be a line and take turns? Chapter 41. I sat in the lounge with a blanket draped over my shoulders and I was having his arm wrapped secure around my waist. wanting me close to him, which I did not mind considering I almost died. But then again, what's new? Everyone else was standing up. Vlad could have a witch. Eudora being the one to break the pending silence. He is not dumb. If he is recruiting, she'd definitely be getting some kind of divinity and S to be on his side. He wouldn't kill. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. Ozzy, I said as he enters. I could see Eudora visibly tense up, which was interesting to me, as I didn't even acknowledge her, which was surprising since ATS usually very polite. Dylan looks at me with a knowing look and mouthed. They were mates. My eyes widened in shock, but I tried to refrain from reacting. But it was so shocking. Os AI, smart, masculine, intellectual professor, quiet, wise as A, matched with a saucy and smart-mouthed chocolate goddess with the most out there kind of personality and style. Who knew they were together? Wait. Used to. Your Evlad S-stop card, he can play against. Ours. Because he knows you would be a SS top priority. As I continued. Eudora rolled her eyes. He will have other cards up his sleeve. It's Vlad we're talking about. He'll have other means of getting ours down. I never said he wouldn't have other plans. But Iris would be his top. As I said. I for one think that we should put a protective spell over the territory. Donnie pushes in. True. Ace O's Ian said with his whiskey bottle. We don't know if this witchy thingy really is from Vlad, but we should be prepared for anything. I also brought some toys with me. Dylan said has exhaled his cigarette smoke. Special toys I built for. I think you dogs will be quite impressed with them. Ace O's Ian rolls his eyes. We're not dogs. Dylan shrugs. Might as well be. At least work your breeds of the wolfish metamorphians. Your ear big magic mush between necromancy and other shit I don't even want to begin to know. I frowned and tilted my head. Necromancy. Dylan smiles. That's right. Beautiful. I am a normal wizard. But I also am half necromancide from my mother's side. However, my family is a very ancient one and well, I guess I am sort of royalty among the divinity ANS. He bragged with a smile. I am also. Gay, Donnie interrupts. Dylan shouts. I am not gay. How many times do I have to tell you? SOZ and snickers. Dressed like the. You might as well be. And wits with the eyeliner under the eyes. You depressed or something? Donnie smirks. Yeah. You trying out the emo? Look. Dylan rolls his eyes. It's called originality. At least I don't blend in with your boring crowd. I bring a new flavor to the smoothie. Enthusiasm. You know. A little tang. A little tong. A little bitter. A little naughty. And I like it so you can all just go fuck yourselves. Fuck ourselves. Wouldn't you have more experience in that arena? Dylan. Dylan shouts. Fuck you. SOZ. SOZ and shakes his head. In good. I don't swing that way, you know. He said with a cheeky wink. I am the only gay one in this whole goddamn castle. Kurt shouts over everyone. So all you can Hakuna your tates. Or maybe Hakuna your diddless. He said and then burst out laughing at his own joke. How have I stayed friends with these people? Dylan said before taking another drag of his cigarette. His eyes turned to me. While everyone was bickering about themselves, Dylan stared at me intensely as if his eyes were in a trance. In an instant Dylan was right in front of my face. Because I am a half-necromancer. I am constantly haunted. Haunted by the dead. I can see them. I can see their pasts. Their history. Their stories. That your story is most intriguing. I didn't know that you and enough. Oz shouted. All the bickering stopped and the whole room fell into silence. Oz stood up from the couch. I am done with this. Iris was almost killed today. I am done being a player in his game. What are you saying then? Asked Oz Ian. It's time to play my game. Oz said with a tone of determination. I asked Leo to make some phone calls. Archie's getting his allies involved. Dylan, you said it yourself. You're practically royalty among your kind. Use that. I want you to recruit as many of your kind as you can. Same as you two. Eudora and Kurt. You're top warriors amongst the Metamorphians. They respect you, so they will listen to you. Ozian. I want you to do something that you're very good at. Ozian raises his brow. I mean, there are a lot of things I am good. You're gonna have to be more specific for me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. I need you to gossip. Ozian snickered. Gossip. You're joking. I need you to spread a rumor about me. Ozian raises his brows in surprise. That is like my dream come true. Do you know how much I've wanted to tell people of your bullshit? Oz rolls his eyes. A fake rumor. You bastard. Oh, Ozian said in disappointment. Why do you think anyone would listen to me? Because you're drunk hellhound. Act like you let something slip while drinking at the bar or some shit like that. Ozian smirks. But then nods. Done. I can definitely do that. What do you want me to slip? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbe. Heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. I want you to say that I am away. That way it might draw Vlad in more. HED wanna go for Lil. You got it. Oz inhales a deep and thoughtful breath. Though we have a lot to do. Leave it till tomorrow. Consider today your last day before everything hits the fan. Wealth, that's motivating, Dylan said sarcastically. Everyone dispersed and left the lounge area. Oz turned to me and sat down. And what will you be doing exactly? Planning and training. Training the men. He smirks and shook his head. No cue. My eyes widen and I sit back. Hold at me. I will be there to protect you. But this is a war, Iris. If something happens to me, I want you to be able to at least fight. I laid back on the couch and sighed. It's fair enough, but just have the lowest expectation of my fighting skills. Oz chuckles. I won't have any expectation. I just at least want you to know the basic stuff. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Good. Oz leans down and digs his arms under my back and knees, then lifts me up. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I said in a fright. I instantly wrapped my arms around his neck. Why are you carrying me? Soldier. Oz walks us up the stairs. I want to feel close to you. I tilted my head in question. My mate's eyes. I've almost lost you twice in a span of 1 week. That's twice too many, Lil. I don't know what to do if you died. Just let me have this. I need this right now. Oz with a past week on his face. He looked tired and drained, so I simply said, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. I leaned in and kissed his cheek. He carried me into our room and we both just flopped on the bed. Oz immediately pulls me into his arms, having me right up against him. He laid his head on my chest and closed his eyes with his arms still secure around my waist. I ran my fingers through his hair. We didn't say anything and I don't think we had to. I began to hum a little melody, a song that my Uncle Noah taught me, and we just laid there. My thoughts drifted off to the war and I felt my anxiety come back. It was so hard to know how this was going to play out. What if we didn't win? I shook my head. I can't afford to think like that. Us losing would result in me dying. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Oz dying. The thought of either of those happening worried me. Stop it, Iris. The war isn't happening right this instant. Right now. I am laying down with Oz. And that's it. And that is exactly where I want to be. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I softly said, I looked down and smiled. He was fast asleep. His body sagged against mine. His breathing was deep and even. His face was void of any stress at all. I stroked his cheek and kissed his forehead. "I have finally fallen for you. Oz of the Hellhounds," I whispered. "There should be a GIF video here. Update the app now to see it." "Where are you?" I yelled. I was breathing hard. My heart was beating. My blood was pumping. My legs were burning. I was running. My eyes searched everywhere for her. I could hear her, but I couldn't see her. She was screaming for me. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I looked around this godforsaken maze. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I yelled. I kept running, blood pumping, legs burning, heart beating, panic awakening, dread spreading. The maze was no ordinary maze. It was made out of mirrors. Mirrors that would switch, twirl, spin, flip, shatter, regather and repeat every turn I took. I hoped to see her, but I couldn't. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." She was screaming my name, screaming in pain. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "Where are you?" I turned a corner and only was met with my reflection. I was about to spin around and take another turn, but I halted. My reflection, it was of a different depiction. He looked like me, stood like me, but his eyes, they were not me. "Find her," he told me. "In trying. But I can't find her, it's impossible." His glowing red eyes filled with anger. "Find her, or it could be too late." I turned and sprinted. She can't be gone. She just can't. I was running. My heart was beating. My blood was pumping. My hope was dwindling. Suddenly the scene changed. All of the mirrors, they're gone. I was settled in a black room that echoed. I turned around. A giant mirror stood, waiting to reveal something. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I stepped forward and there he was again. It's too late. Heart stopped. Blood stopped. Legs stopped. Hope stopped. Or maybe not. "No," I yelled as the pain and grief ripped me apart. I punched the mirror, shattering into a million pieces. But to my surprise, I felt a clothing material inside my fist. The glass settled on the ground and there he stood. Enthusiasm, in the flesh. I growled and roared as I pulled him in. "She's not gone." I refused to believe that. "She is still alive. You have to let her go." I pushed him away and said I will not let her go. She's still alive. I will find her. The man stepped forward toward me and said, "Then let me save her. For the both of us." I stood there confused. You're just my reflection. The smirks and raises a quizzical brow. I am your reflection, repeating my words. He takes another step forward while shaking his head. We stood toe to toe. He raises his hands and cups my cheek as he said, "You poor creature. You live as if you're individual, thinking that you're living in the truth." I growled, "What do you mean?" The red-eyed man leans in and said, "You're the mirror. You're my reflection." I snarled and said, "You're not real. I know who I am." "How could you? You don't remember anything about who you are." I clenched my jaw and yelled, "Then why the hell are you here?" "To help you." "To help me how?" "By showing who you really are." "How will you do that? How can you?" The man cups my head with both of his hands and said, "Let me in. Remember who you are." I gasp awake. I whipped my head down to look at Iris. She is fast asleep. I look outside and see it was night time. My clothes were soaked with sweat. I groaned as I stood up from the bed. That dream was repeating over and over again in my mind. My head hurt. I walked to the mirror. My reflection. It was normal. I raised my hand and touched the skin just underneath the eyes. They were the normal green color. It was a complete and accurate reflection of me. So why do I feel so lost? Why is it when I look at myself, I see a stranger? Who the fuck am I? I whispered to myself. I walked out to the balcony and looked up at the stars, and I thought of Iris. The thought of her calmed my mind and heart, and I was able to think a little more clearly. I may be lost, but the one constant thing that has kept my feet on the ground was her. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Thoughts of her being hurt, screaming my name invaded my mind. I can't let that happen. I won't. I marched to my desk and turned on the lamp. I looked through my files and notes and began to plan and calculate. I need to prepare for this. I cannot risk her. Not her. I looked over my shoulder at my Nate. She laid there in a ball of blankets. Hair messed up and spread everywhere. I think she was even drooling a little bit. I couldn't help but smile when I looked at her. She was beautiful. She was the good in me. She is my pure little light that shines through my black heart. I will not lose this war. I refuse to. By losing this war, I lose her. And that can't happen. I won't let it.